Imagine escaping into a medieval fantasy world for a weekend, surrounded by camaraderie, adventure, and the thrill of living out a story. But what if the line between the game and reality blurred? What if someone lurking in the shadows of that make-believe world wasn't playing by the rules? This is the story of how a harmless weekend turned into a chilling encounter I'll never forget. For those unfamiliar, LARPing, which is live-action role-playing, is a way to escape reality, immersing oneself in a medieval fantasy world for a weekend. My partner, a close friend, and I often attended these events to enjoy the camaraderie and the thrill of stepping into another time. Most attendees were kindred spirits, enthusiastic and respectful, but as I come to learn, there's always that one exception. It started innocuously enough. While setting up my tent, I noticed someone approaching from the edge of camp. He was hard to miss, around 5'10", heavy-set with an unkempt beard and a demeanor that immediately set off alarms. He greeted me with a casual hi, but something about his tone and presence made my skin crawl. The others setting up nearby seemed oblivious, so I was left alone to handle this unexpected visitor. He asked if I was alone. I replied curtly that I was with friends, but avoided elaborating. The conversation shifted, and he asked if I was a gamer. I nodded, hoping to cut the exchange short, but instead, he launched into a monologue about a game I knew all too well. I've spent 3,000 hours on Ark Survival Evolved, and yet he managed to butcher every detail. He misnamed dinosaurs and had impossible scenarios. It was almost impressive how wrong he was. Each time I corrected him, his expression grew darker, a subtle but unmistakable flicker of irritation. I excused myself, claiming I needed to finish setting up my tent. He lingered a moment before wandering off, but the uneasy feeling stayed with me. That night, the event officially began. The rules of decorum dictated no real-world talk, so we immersed ourselves in our characters. My friends, my partner, and I gathered around the campfire for a game. That's when he showed up again. He sat uncomfortably close, inching near each time I shifted away. Finally, I moved to sit by a friend, and he got the hint. Though not before breaking the decorum rules multiple times. Much to everyone's annoyance, we asked him to either participate properly or leave. He chose the latter. The next day, I ventured up a trail for some resource gathering, a peaceful in-character activity meant to simulate hunting and foraging. As I made my way back to the village, I froze. There he was, standing in the middle of the trail, waiting for me. He greeted me casually, and then asked if I'd like to get some coffee sometime. My stomach churned. I politely declined. Trying to maintain composure, I told him I needed to return to the village to drop off my bow and gather my basket for plant collecting. Quickening my pace, I prayed he wouldn't follow. But he did. Then he grabbed my arm. "I could come with you," he said, his tone dripping with something sinister. "Just you and me, alone in the woods, looking for plants. Doesn't that sound perfect?" Panic surged through me. I yanked my arm free and practically ran down the trail, heart pounding. By the time I reached the village, my neighbors could tell something was wrong. I used the code phrase in all honesty to signal that this was no longer part of the game. Their expression shifted to alarm, and without hesitation, they went and confronted him, warning him to stay away. I spent the evening with friends trying to shake off the encounter. By midnight, I finally felt a semblance of calm. Nature called, so I made my way to the bathroom, the darkness pressing in on all sides. As I returned, something burst from the bushes. It was him, and he pinned me against a tree. "You've been leading me on," he hissed, his voice a twisted mix of anger and desperation. "Why hold another guy's hand? Why hug other men but not me?" I managed to stammer out that I only held my fiance's hand and hugged my friends, not strangers. But his eyes burned with fury. "In all honesty," I said firmly, hoping the code might snap him out of whatever this was. Instead, he sneered. "In all honesty," he mocked, leaning closer. "What if I just want a little kiss? Just one, and then you can go." I screamed no and struggled against him, adrenaline giving me strength. The sound of rushing footsteps and shouting filled the night. My friends and neighbors, alerted by the scream, stormed down the path, armed with their foam weapons. 10 of them surrounded him. He let me go, raising his hands as if this was some misunderstanding. I was interrogating her for information about the demons, he claimed weakly. No one believed him. They ordered him to sit while someone fetched the event owner. My partner pulled me aside, his face pale with worry. When the owner arrived, I recounted everything, every chilling detail. The man was taken aside and told to leave, permanently banned from returning. The weekend continued, but the joy was gone for me. The woods, once a sanctuary for creativity and camaraderie, felt heavier, darker. To the man who turned my escape into a nightmare, let's not meet again. Sometimes, even in places we escape to feel safe and free, danger can creep in when we least expect it. This experience taught me the importance of trusting my instincts and relying on support of those around me when things don't feel right. It's a reminder to always have a plan, speak up, and stand together to protect one another. If you found this story compelling, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Have you ever had an experience where your gut told you something was wrong? Share it. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more stories that dive into the unexpected. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there.